Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Monday, everybody. I hope your day and your week are off to a fantastic start. We've got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. We just hit 89,000 subscribers this morning. We're 11,000 away from our goal. We're trying to hit 100K before the end of the year. A lot of people keep saying we can't do it. I think we're on pace to do it, but we need your help to get there. So please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below. With a new day, a new week comes a new opportunity to go ahead and make some money. Kind of a short day, only 4 games in today's MLB slate, but I found 4 picks that I think have some pretty solid value. So let's go ahead and dive into the picks. Jumping right into the Outlier screen, guys. Shout out to Outlier, the best sports betting tool on the market. Guys, I say it all the time. If you want to make money in the sports betting landscape, you got to have the proper tool by your side. An Outlier is the best that money can buy. If you see my videos before, you know what Outlier is all about. There's so much data, so much insight, consolidates everything, puts it in one easy, convenient place. It's a really fantastic thing to have by your side. And I do think it truly makes you a better sports bettor. The best part is when you use our link down below in the description, you get a 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. Guys, I'm always showing you the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Outlier. There's so much more that goes into it with football coming, with the NBA coming soon in about a month. There's a lot of stuff in here that you guys are going to want to go ahead and check out. I'm only showing you guys a little bit, but there's so much more to Outlier than even what I show you guys. And once your free trial is over, it's $19.99 a month. But again, if you're making smart sports betting choices, if you're winning money in part thanks to Outlier, it basically pays for itself. So guys, make sure to check that link out down below in the description. 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. Thank you very much to Outlier for sponsoring today's video. All right, guys, our first of 4 picks in today's slate. We're targeting the Cubs-Phillies game, 6:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Aaron Nola of the Phillies here, over 4.5 hits allowed. This prop is available from -145 on BetMGM, -148 Caesars. Also available on DraftKings, Underdog, and Prize Picks for varying odds. As always, guys, make sure to shop around for the best sportsbook odds available. Now, the odds are a little juice on this one. Like I said, -145 on BetMGM. If you guys have Prize Picks, it is -137, but it looks like BetMGM, Caesars, or DraftKings is probably your best bet here. And the odds are a little high, but for good reason. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm willing to put a little bit more money down if it means I have a better chance of winning here. That is pretty solid. Aaron Nola has cashed the over in 7 of his last 10 starts with an average of 6.5 hits allowed per start over his last 10 starts. Even if we go ahead and look at the last 20 game data, it's pretty solid for Aaron Nola. 65% hit rate over his last 20 games. 13 of his last 20 games he's cashed the over, averaging 5.9 hits allowed per game. You see this little stretch here from the end of June through the end of August, that like 2-month stretch where he was just cash money, baby, over on this over there. Pretty crazy stretch there. Now, he has gone a little bit under here in the last 5 starts, but again, not really that bad. Overall this year, a 55% hit rate on this over. 17 out of 31 games this year, Aaron Nola has cashed the over, averaging 5.58 hits allowed per game this season. So pretty good numbers there overall for Aaron Nola. And the head-to-head data is decent. Only 2 games in the head-to-head data. Actually both matchups being last year, a 50% hit rate. The last time these two teams played, or he had his last start, I should say, versus the Cubs, was on June 28th of last season. He gave up 7 hits, and it was a 8-5 win for the Phillies. The previous start before that, May 20th of last year, he had 4 hits allowed, and what was a 12-3 win for the Phillies. An average of 5.5 hits allowed per game, so you have 1 close miss and 1 absolute cash there. So not bad on the head-to-head data. And really, guys, what I'm banking for here is the matchup. You see the Cubs batting versus right-handed pitchers. Now, overall in the year, actually not fantastic. Bottom half of the league in a lot of these key categories. But over the last 30 games, this Cubs offense has been red hot versus right-handed pitchers. They have the best batting average actually in baseball against right-handed pitchers over the last 30 games, batting .281, just a 22.3% strikeout rate, 338 BA/BIP across the board. Really good numbers. I mean, number 1 in multiple categories here versus right-handed pitchers over the last 30 games. And now Aaron Nola's numbers, we'd like them to be a little bit higher, but they're not that bad. 241 batting average allowed, 283 BA/BIP, 354 ERA, 52nd percentile for batting average allowed. Again, we'd like the number to be a little bit higher there for Aaron Nola, but overall, it's a really solid matchup. All right, guys, in our second pick from today's slate, actually, we're going to stick with this Cubs-Phillies game, and we're going to go with Nick Castellanos over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. We get that for Prize Picks -119, DraftKings -120, and BetMGM for -120. Again, the data is really solid on this one, and the odds obviously a little bit better on this one. See, 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.1 hits, runs, RBIs per game. He's actually cashed it in 4 straight with that big game there versus the Mets. Actually, the Mets series was very profitable for Castellanos' over. So pretty good numbers there. Even if you want to go ahead and stretch the data out a bit, last 20 games, still pretty good, 55% hit rate. 11 of his last 20 games, averaging 1.95 hits, runs, RBIs per game. So far in 2024, a 51% hit rate on the over. 80 out of 156 games this year is cashed the over, averaging 1.96 hits, runs, RBIs per game. So pretty good numbers overall for Castellanos. And the head-to-head data, not bad. Also, 6 of his last 9 meetings versus the Cubs, nice. He has cashed the over, 67% hit rate, but an average of 2.44 hits, runs, RBIs per game. That average is a little bit skewed from that June 28th meeting last year with the Cubs. So far this season, he's played them 3 times, and he's cashed it in 2 of the 3 meetings this season. Over the insights provided by Outlier, Nick Castellanos has exceeded 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 5 of his last 6 games, an average of 2.7 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 6 games. And look at the key matchup stats down below. We could get a little bit better data here, but it's not bad overall. Castellanos, 247 batting average overall. His numbers do drop slightly versus right-handed pitchers down to 240, but still 240, not terrible. And then looking at Pearson, the pitcher for the Cubs tonight. Nate Pearson, now we do see actually some increases in a couple of categories here. You see his ERA goes up to 5.24 when facing off with right-handed batters. His home runs per 9 actually pretty high at 2.1, OBA 344. We do see a slight, I mean ever 0.001 tick down in his batting average from 263 to 262. But overall, pretty decent numbers there. Again, I would like it better if Castellanos' batting average might be a little bit higher. But overall, decent data here, what I think is a pretty solid prop. Now, if there was a tragedy or there was like a commentator making a racial slur, this prop would be an absolute lock. But I don't think anything like that's going to happen today. But you never know. Makes it sound like I'm rooting for a tragedy. I'm really not. Don't want anything bad to happen, but God forbid one of these old announcers slipped up on a word or slipped up on a, maybe the mic's off, a hot mic. Listen, not rooting for anything bad to happen. We don't want anything bad to happen, but if it did, that Castellanos prop would be a lock. All right, guys, our third pick in today's slate. We're targeting the Red Sox-Blue Jays game, 7:07 p.m. first pitch. We're going Vaughn Grisham of the Red Sox under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. We're getting this for -140 on BetMGM, -145 on DraftKings. And the data is absolutely fantastic on this one, guys. 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under, averaging just 0.6 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10. Even the last 20 game data, 16 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the under, an 80% hit rate, averaging 0.75 hits, runs, RBIs per game. And so far in 2024, a 76% hit rate on the under. He's only played in 25 games this year for the Red Sox, but in 19 of those 25 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 0.88 hits, runs, RBIs per game. The Red Sox are making historically bad trades. They go hand in hand together. That Chris Sale deal just looks worse and worse by them. And he's one of the best pitchers in the National League this year. And Vaughn Grisham, who was one of the big pieces we got in return for Chris Sale, you can just see by the numbers how that's worked out for them. 4 games out of the wild card spot, Boston probably could have used Chris Sale this year. I don't hate the move. Again, I understand he was hurt constantly and whatever, but as a Red Sox fan, it just sucks when you see we keep trading away these generational players, Mookie Betts and all these guys, and what you get in return for them is hot garbage. But as it pertains to the props, we don't have any head-to-head data here for Vaughn Grisham. But again, across the board, in the few times we have seen him this year with the Red Sox, it has not been good. Looking down below, the insights provided by Outlier, Vaughn Grisham has failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 10 of his last 11 games, an average of 0.6 hits, runs, RBIs per game average over those last 11 games. And look at the key matchup stats down below. Vaughn Grisham, just 145 batting average versus right-handed pitchers this year, not too far off from his overall 151 batting average. And look at Chris Bassett's number here, 4.16 ERA, 270 batting average allowed. But versus right-handed batters, really good numbers, 2.72 ERA, 2.40 batting average allowed, 0.4 home runs per 9. This seems like a layup. The biggest risk here, honestly, guys, is that Vaughn Grisham doesn't play. He's not in the lineup because that is obviously at risk here. But for -140 odds, this feels like I guess pun intended, feels like a home run. All right, guys, and our fourth and final pick from today's slate, we're targeting the Mariners-Astros game, 8:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going to Julio Rodriguez here, J-Rod, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. We're getting that for -119 on Prize Picks, -130 DraftKings, and -130 on BetMGM. Again, data is pretty solid on this one. He's had some big games of late. 7 of his last 10 games, J-Rod has cashed the over, averaging 4.3 hits, runs, RBIs per game. You see, just a couple days ago, 10 and 10 versus the Rangers on back-to-back days. He then cooled off a little bit yesterday. But a couple of really big games recently there. specifically versus the Rangers for J-Rod. Even the last 20 game data, pretty solid. 65% hit rate, 13 of his last 20 games. Average of 3.3 hits, runs, RBIs per game. So far in 2024, a 50% hit rate on the year. 68 out of 135 games this year, J-Rod has cashed the over. Averaging 2.07 hits, runs, RBIs per game. So pretty good data there across the board. Look at the head-to-head data, not as impressive. 11 of the last 23 games versus the Astros. He's cashed the over, just a 48% hit rate. He is still averaging 2 hits, runs, RBIs per game, but the data clearly is not that impressive, especially this year. You see this year so far, just 3 cashes against the Astros. So that's something to keep in mind. The head-to-head data here versus Houston, not fantastic for J-Rod. Looking at the insights provided by Outlier, Julio Rodriguez has exceeded 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 8 of his last 10 games on the road, an average of 4.2 hits, runs, RBIs per game average over his last 10 road games. Now, although the head-to-head data versus the Astros in general is not fantastic, the head-to-head data here versus Hunter Brown, the pitcher for the Astros tonight, is pretty decent. 14 plate appearances since 2018, so a decent sample size there. 333 batting average, 429 OBP. He's got 4 hits and 3 RBIs. A 28.6% strikeout rate, though, something to keep in mind. J-Rod is batting .272 so far this year. You do see that number drop to .269 when facing off with right-handed pitchers. But the real thing that I like here is the Hunter Brown side of things. You see his data across the board, some pretty decent increases, specifically in the batting average allowed. You see 245 overall, but versus right-handed batters, a nice steady increase there to 280. His ERA 384. His home runs per 9 is the same number, and his OBA goes up to 319. So across the board, pretty decent data there on the Hunter Brown side of things. Although it does show red for J-Rod, 269 batting average, although it is a slight drop from his overall number, still a pretty solid data point. So really good prop here. Again, pretty decent value. For minus 130 odds, pretty decent value there, I think. All right, guys, those are all 4 picks in today's slate. Quick little recap. Aaron Nola, over 4.5 hits allowed. Nick Castellanos, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. J-Rod, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs for the Mariners. And Vaughn Grisham, under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs for the Red Sox. Again, guys, all those picks will be in the link down below in the description. That does it for you today. Thank you very much, as always, people, for watching. One more time, please make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. I will be back tomorrow with another MLB Player Prop video. By the way, if you guys watched through the entire video, please comment finished. Comment finished if you watched through the entire video. I really do appreciate all you guys who stick around and watch through the entire thing. We put a lot of work into our videos here, so we really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We have a ton of great content. Obviously, MLB playoffs are coming up next week, so make sure you're tuned in for that. We have a ton of great football content, including for tonight's Monday Night Football matchup, the 2 Monday Night Football matchups. Ev has his 2 singular Monday Night Football videos. I have my NFL Oracle episode 1. We still have all the Monday Night picks on there, including a nice little teaser there. We're 2-0 on the teasers so far this week. So go ahead and check that out, guys. I will be back tomorrow with another MLB Player Prop video. But until then, I hope you're all winners, guys. Have a fantastic Monday. Have a fantastic start to the new week.